it has all the
It's awesome.
Collagen.
I mean, everything the body needs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. He's amazing. 13.
Great.
Great. Let's see. Any other questions?
Is
I
there
have
a
a question.
replay for this? Is there a replay?
Well,
Heather has it recorded.
I'm back now, but
Hey, you're back.
Okay, we need a replay or a recording for this.
okay. So until I vanished, that's saving on my computer, and I just started recording again. So I don't know what I missed in the
That's
middle.
okay.
I'm running around the house trying to get cell service, and I just reset everything, and now it works. So
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
if you guys like this, and we can expand and do another one, and or any other subjects that you guys like. Did you like the talk tonight?
Very much.
absolutely.
I have a question.
Perfect.
How do we determine what chakra may be blocked?
This is an
Is it
important
basically
question.
by behavior? You
No,
actually
no.
have to be able to determine it.
Yes, actually, if you work on your energy work, if you go like this, if you do this for 30 seconds with an essential oil, even do it for 30 seconds, just
I
like
can't
that.
hear you so good now.
Yeah, you do it for 30 seconds and then you practice touching something. You're gonna feel energetic field all around your hand. And if
Oh.
you feel this,
Yes.
yeah, you can.
Go like this?
Yeah, I mean, you can, in after 30 seconds, you put this over a dog, you're gonna
You
see
feel.
the difference from chakra to chakra. And you're gonna, actually, you will feel then, which one is really need more work. The more you do this, the more you feel it. And if you have oil, if you have actual, let's say, you can do it diagnostically. Let's do use patchouli to test.
Called a hand scan.
Yeah, but
Hand scan?
if you do this while you're doing the pelvic chakra with the patchouli, then it's even more specific. One of the Muladhara chakra essential oil. So you can do that. I mean, you can, and the more you do, the more you can feel it and say, wow. Actually,
Really?
with the Heather's dogs and cats, I just 6 of them every time we go. And we can feel it. Once you go, you go over the chakra, you can tell which chakra is really affected and need work. So you can.
So
feel
if it's blocked, would you feel it less?
I feel heat.
I think
The
more
heat is blocked.
Heat. Because when
Okay.
it's blocked, you have the energy is not going properly from there upward. So it's stuck.
Right.
Basically, we call it stuck. So
Yeah.
you'll feel immense amount of heat coming from that chakra. And to really concur, after you work with it and do everything we talked about tonight, then you feel it again, you'll feel the heat dissipate.
Check it again.
Almost like you open
Heat.
the Sushumna,
Yes, heat.
the Nadi, and there's 70,000 Sushumnas or Nadis. Nadis are nerves, right? You know that. It's a pre-scientific mapped up. Isn't that amazing? Those guys, the rishis, and intuitively they mapped up the body and they found out the nervous system, and they found 72,000 nadis in the body. Oh.
That is amazing. That just shows how much we've all gotten away from energy because we can't believe they did it.
Yeah, and people say, well, there, you can't see it. And then, can you see your brain? Yes, it weighs 2 pounds and it's there. Can you see your mind? No. Do we have a mind? Of course we have a mind. Well, what does it look like? We don't know, but we believe it. The same thing, but because it doesn't affect us, like, no, I don't think so. I can't feel it. It's not there. And yet we have a psychology science for the mind.
Mind, yes.
There's not a lot of logic.
Yes.
So for me, when I do energy work with an animal at the shelter, oftentimes I have to do it a little bit of distance or off of their body until they're okay with me putting my hands on, or they're just not that close to me. I actually use a device called a pendulum. You can use a necklace or whatever. And I'm not going to explain this whole thing, but it's again energy work showing you yeses or nos, and I can control it, but generally I don't control it when I'm working with an animal. And it gives me a lot of information, and you have to believe in this to do this, but it takes a little bit of time, just like using your hands to feel something and you're scanning something, you feel it. I am very impatient person. I like to use a tool, if I can use a tool to assist me, because I can do it faster. My mentor is Tony Kraft, who showed me how to use these, and I do my pendulum very, very fast. And she always yells at me saying, I'm doing it too fast, I don't give it time. But for me, that's what works for me, right? So I can go up and down the body and find what's open, what's closed. Is this, like, I can take a bunch of oils, and I did this with my Daisy. She taught me a lot, and Dr. Akawi knew Daisy well. I would hold it over the oils and say, is this an oil that I need? And it would say yes or no. And that's how I sometimes would work on what oils to use for what dogs, when and where, if they didn't give me a verbal response or a smile or a wait. Like, dogs just give you reactions, and you can't attribute an essential oil reaction to behavior reactions, because a lot of them have like a lick, which behavioring is anxiety and stress. But when you're using an oil and they lick, that's actually a very good sign. They kind of like it. So you have to, like, if there's a behaviorist versus an energy worker, there's a lot of the same signals that mean this different things, completely different. But a growl's a growl, like that's the same.
By the way, what Heather is referring to, the pendulum, is based on Dr. Abdul Karim, Egyptian scientist. He's an Egyptianist, actually. He's an expert on the pharaohs and the Egyptian work, but he's also an expert in geometry. And geometry deals with the energy direction, horizontal versus vertical. And they believe that the good energy always have to be horizontal. And we talked about moving with the pedals from the pelvic all the way to the top. That's a horizontal energy, or energy. Now, if you have vertical energy, that's bad energy. That's energy coming from top and attacking you. So the pendulum can detect if you have some vertical energy attack from, again, we talked about the phone.
Wow.
We talked about people don't realize how much some of the new devices have voltages that affect our cellular energy fields, and the pendulum can detect that. And this is the same idea with the feng shui, basically. Except it's in a room. This one in the body. The same thing, direction of energy. But whatever works for you, really, I think you can do all of it. I think Heather does that. But it's important to also not work on animals if you have issues, if you have a bad day. Stay home.
Exactly.
Because
you're gonna get
because they pick up on that.
Yeah, it's like you said, it can go between. So yeah, you've got to have your.
They can read you, and you can't hide it. You can't hide it.
Thanks, Alan.
This is why
don't do it unless you have your shit together.
I started the talk with balancing your own chakras, and you should do that. Maybe the second version, like 5 minutes, do the light thing and sit in a quiet place. Just open your chakras, so you are an open book.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to just show you guys a couple things. 4 Paws, 5 Directions. This book is massive, but you're going to talk about all of, even the food, everything that Dr. Akawi was talking about with food, hot and cold and neutral, that's in here, diet, but it's talking about all different things that could come up. And it actually, where's the pictures? It'll show you based on acupuncture points and meridians and all that, which we didn't even touch on, but they run through a lot of the chakras and stuff like that. And if you want to work with emotions, this is the book, Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils by Carolyn Main. This is pretty much has everything when you're working with emotions, and it will talk about chakras and everything in here too. So this book, those 2 books will encompass a lot. And I know, like, I feel like I've had this book for like 10 years and I might be at the point where I'm ready to dive into it, not use it as a resource tool. But like that's a lot. This is a whole
I love that.
Oh,
This is
that's a big book.
my favorite book. Yeah,
yeah,
because
That's a
I
great
love
book.
it. But I use it as a resource. I look things up, I sit down and read it, and my brain goes, ah, you know, kind of thing. Because I'm a hands-on learner. So it's kind of it's different when you work with shelter dogs. You know, we do things a little bit different and you have to roll with things a little different. And it's funny because there's some shelter dogs that absolutely love the oils, like talk about melt in your arms. And then other ones are like, not sure about that. I had one smell joy today. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. He started doing zoomies around a 12 by 12 room and then just crashed his body into me and threw himself on the floor and just got up and started running. I was like, oh, buddy, hey. But he's
Well, it's like people, they need it. If they don't like it, they need it. It's the same as
he
with
liked it.
people.
He didn't even know how to control himself. And then he went to sleep for like 15 minutes. So I'm just sitting in the room like, okay, so he's sleeping, so we'll just sit here. All right, you guys.
Amazing.
My summer decided that she really likes nutmeg. She chose nutmeg.
nutmeg.
Crazy over it.
You know, nutmeg is excellent.
Isn't that adrenal?
No, it's actually nutmeg is really good for the anya, the intuitiveness. It is actually so powerful. They discovered in Washington State, prisoners in the kitchen were stealing all the nutmeg and eating it, because if you eat like a whole gram or 2 grams,
Like a hallucinogenic thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
so it gives you a
Nutmeg
different
mushroom.
so it does help the anya, the intuitiveness. And
Which chakra is that?
the second one, I mean the sixth one. The
I'm
second
going to go do that right now. I'm going to snip some nutmeg.
yeah.
So why would summer like that?
All Middle Eastern people cook with nutmeg and
Clairvoyance.
yes,
Mhm.
Clairvoyance.
exactly.
Hmm.
All right. Well, nice meeting you, and
Yes. Thank you so much for
Thank
doing
you.
Thank you, Dr. Frank. You were awesome.
okay,
Thank
Yes,
you.
this was amazing.
thank you. If you guys like more talks like this, just communicate with Heather. And
Oh, yeah.
you know what? Maybe we should float subjects